Hi, thanks for spending a little time with me again today. We're looking at number 22 in the Develop Sight Reading book. And it's another annoying little ditty without a whole lot of musical sense. Phrases without composition, you might say. But it's challenging, and that's why it's good to work on these. Let me see if I can make it through this one. Oh, got a little distracted at the end. I'm going to play the last line. And the reason is there's a tricky little rhythm right at the end, and I didn't quite catch it. If you have the music, see if you can figure out what it is. So I put an 8th wrist in the last bar instead of a 16th wrist. Now, that seems kind of picky. Well, you're right about that. So, as usual, there's a lot going on here, and you have to take it apart, see if you can hear the pitches, feel the time. But there's another aspect here that it's pretty common in this book, and it gets more and more annoying as the book goes on. This key signature is 4 sharps. Which you could think, well, that's E major, unless of course, it's C sharp minor, which it is in this case. So be that as it may, you're going along, minding your own business, and all of a sudden there's some accidentals, and that's not unusual. We see a lot of accidentals on notes, but what he does in this book is he gets you hearing in a particular key that's different from the original key, and then all of a sudden switches. Well, no, the key signature is still there, but he takes away the accidentals, and now you keep on playing in the same key. At least I do, because I tend to be very influenced by what my ear hears, which is a good thing, I suppose. But, let's see, where's a good example of this? Yeah, let me take the 3-4, second bar of the 4th line. And this is tricky because well, you'll see. Just listen for it. So we're playing in C sharp minor, and then all of a sudden we're not. So you're switching back and forth keys all the time. Now that's not difficult in and of itself. You just have to pay attention, a little better than I did, to the accidentals. But sometimes it gets tricky, and all of a sudden you don't realize you're playing a wrong note. Now part of the problem is you can be playing a wrong note, and it's because it sounds wrong, sounds right to you, you think it's right. And when you play it correctly, the way it's written on the page, it sounds wrong. Now, first I have to tell you, this is not a perfect book, so you're going to find mistakes. You'll find rhythmic mistakes. Maybe there's not quite enough eighth notes in the bar, for example, or you'll find that there are other discrepancies. So we don't actually know for sure whether it's a printing mistake, an editing mistake, or whether it's an actual note mistake. But the point is, that doesn't matter. What matters is play what's on the page. When you play what's on the page, even when it kind of smells bad to your ear, at least you're sight reading, and that's the point of the book. It's like you get used to playing these things even though your ear is telling you, I don't think that's right. Play it anyway, there it is. So now you're relying on visually translating the notation and having what come out of your bell, exactly what's on the page. And that's hard for me, but you need to do it. I think I mentioned in another video that playing what's on the page is important because, well, when we did this in the BSO, we'd be playing a brand new piece of music, just been written. As a matter of fact, it wasn't finished being written. It was still the rehearsal week, and we had the composer sitting up in the balcony with the score. So our job was to play the notes that were written. When we played those notes, then whoever's paying attention can hear, is that right or is that not right? Is that a mistake someplace? So we had to make, in other words, we had to make the mistakes very obvious if it was indeed a mistake. And you need to know that because one of the most important things you can do for yourself when you're practicing and playing is to be sure. It's okay to not be sure, but that means you need to step back, do a little mental work, see if you're hearing the pitches and the rhythms correctly, and then say, yes, I'm going to play this, and it's right. And nobody's going to tell me otherwise. You have to kind of bring that attitude to it, so you're doing what you do on purpose. There's a lot of tricky things in here. We don't need to get into it too much because if you've been watching any of the other etudes, you know the basic practice issues. But something I do want you to be aware of in all these etudes is articulation. I'm not sure how I did that on that pass through because how we tongue a note, how we pronounce a note, I like to say, and how we differentiate the different styles of articulation and how we move from the slurring passages into the articulated passages, that's what you want to be listening for here. Now for me it's pretty simple. It comes back to not just playing the what's on the page, but what is it supposed to sound like musically. So I'm going to try a spot and see if you can hear some of this stuff. This is the mezzo forte on the fifth line. I didn't play that correctly. And you can tell I'm going back and forth between articulated notes and sustained notes, slurred notes. And I'm doing it really in a kind of a generic fashion. In other words, I'm not doing much style or much character to the sound. I'm just doing basic articulation, basic slurring. And that's a good place to start. And then you'll find passages that have a little bit more character to them. I'll go on from where I left off. Doggone it, that 16th rest at the end caught me again. That means I don't have it in my ear correctly. One thing that can really help you with something like that is release on purpose. So that very last couple of bars. So it's dee-da, dee-da-dum, dee-da-bum. Now that sounds like a big deal. If you're trying too hard, it is a big deal. But once you get it right in your mind, it's you're just coming off the beat, and it's simple. Now, time, to my mind, is the most important aspect of music. And that doesn't just mean keeping a steady tempo. It means feeling the inside, feeling the bones of the music, which is the subdivision, and then feeling the pace, which is how the music moves in terms of tempo, and then feeling the style or the inflection that you can do with the rhythm that may not be literally what's written on the page. So that's a lot, but it starts with, can you play literally what's written on the page? So when you play these etudes, that's what I recommend that you do. Just play what's written on the page and do the best you can with it, and you're going to be improving your playing if you improve these little etudes. Okay, time to go do some work. Time for me to go eat breakfast, and I'll catch you later on down the road. Have a great day. Bye-bye.